It's official. You suck.
Oh my gosh, this may be the most painful video I've ever had to make. Alright man, so it's been a while since I've been on here, and what better time to come back to this channel other than to introduce the fact that we suck. We absolutely suck. Now if y'all saw the graphic or the screenshot, excuse me, at the beginning of the video, our last win came on December 15th with an Austin Reeves game winner against the struggling Dallas Mavericks without Luka. And since then, we are on a 5-game losing streak, losing to teams we should absolutely beat. We lost to Pat Beverly's Timberwolves. We lost to the Bulls in a very close battle. The Suns whooped us. The Spurs with Keita Bates-Diop looking like Kevin Durant out there by 28. And more recently, we nearly came back. Stanley Johnson has been a bright spot for us, but we still lost the game because Russell Westbrook wanted to be flashy and he wanted to dunk the ball instead of, I don't know, finishing the play. But what turned into a tie game after being down 23 turned into a 7-point loss. But it's not like we just got on this losing streak recently. It's been a recurring theme with our team. We literally lost to the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant, and we lost to the LA Clippers without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George shooting 7 for 20. And we let Marcus Morris Sr. and Luke Kennard beat us. And we win against struggling teams, and even then those turn out to be in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals for us for some reason, even though it should be an absolute blowout with some of these teams. But, you know, that's neither here, well, it is here and there, but let's talk about some of the reasons why we are particularly bad this year. Number one, our system is not good. Our offensive system and schematics are not the greatest I've ever seen. And the defense, and keep in mind y'all, we were number one, even in the season we struggled last year, we were number one in defensive efficiency. And this year, I don't know exactly what ranking we are, but we are a middle of the pack defensive team, which is not good considering this team has had a lot of title expectations and they were expected to be somewhat respectable. And the reason why, going back to what I said earlier, that every game feels like Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, or like the final minutes of it, per se, because of the fact that we cannot defend for our lives. We literally let teams shoot the three, and whenever we try to close out on them, they blow by us and they get easy layups, because we either defend the three or we pack the paint. Why can't there be a balance? Well, we traded all our defensive studs, particularly KCP, and we let Alex Caruso walk just so this big three can happen. Alright. Even though Trez wasn't a difference maker and Kyle Kuzma, like he was okay in some sorts, but he was meme worthy at times. But even still, we let him go, and he's playing pretty decent for the Wizards. And Caldwell Pope has been fine for that Wizards team as well. But my point is that we let all our defensive studs go, especially JaVale McGee, who has been balling out for the Suns, again, just so that this big three can happen. And because of that, we are suffering so much defensively. Now, maybe Stanley Johnson, Trevor Ariza, and Avery Bradley can help us be a little more respectable, but having those guys is the bare minimum. It's like, I don't know. It's like learning how to stop at a red light and finally stopping at a red light and not blowing through it. By the way, yes, I do live in California. We do have absolute crap drivers here that don't know the laws of the road. But this channel is not about me being a DMV employee. This is a basketball channel, so let's keep that out of the way. You can explain the whole driving part to me later. But seriously, having Avery Bradley and Trevor Ariza and Stanley Johnson should not be the highest bar we set for ourselves. Especially considering we let a guy who is top 3 in steals per game in Alex Caruso walk because we invest more in Talen Horton-Tucker. Now, Talen Horton-Tucker is a stud, but he just doesn't fit this team. And he sucks on this Laker team. But yeah, I'm going all over the place, but this team is it just sucks all around. But this team is just terrible defensively. We can't get rebounds. We're letting small dudes. Okay, let me put this into context, y'all. In the first game against Golden State, the Warriors' biggest guy was the man Looney Tunes from UCLA. Kevon Looney was the biggest player on that court. And for some reason, with Russ, with LeBron, with DJ, with Anthony Davis, and Dwight Howard, who were all part of the rotation in that part of the season, they were getting crushed on the boards. I get it. The Warriors have some scrappy players. But at the same time, that's not an excuse to get out-rebounded by players that are shorter than half our roster. Like, come on, man. And in the second game against Phoenix, okay, we scored a basket, right? And the Phoenix Suns scored a basket at the other end with JaVale McGee running the floor as if it were a fast break. And keep in mind, we just scored at that point, and JaVale McGee gets a wide open dunk at the other end. That just explains to you how piss poor we are defensively. And again, we have long stretches where we can't score, which would not be a problem if we knew how to defend. But we cannot defend. We can't defend the three, and we can't defend the paint. If we try to pick our poison with it, we'd still suck defensively. There's no balance with our defense. And what do we do to make up for it? As I say it sarcastically, but what do we do to make up for this atrocious defense? Well, a very, very weird, non-existent offense that just involves LeBron ISOs, Westbrook barreling his way to the rim, and a pick and pop with AD who just settles for 90% of mid-range shots, and he makes like 10% of them. So yeah, I get it. Anthony Davis has been averaging 24 and 11, which stat-wise he's fine, but the impact-wise, he's been absolutely terrible. And even Shannon Sharp said it best. We have no offense to run except out of a timeout, and it's not even a good offensive play call. It's the same, in his words, sorry, bullshit wheel route. I call it the very, very sloppy horns handoff crap, which only works if it's like the first couple plays of the game. But if you're doing that out of a timeout, you better make sure that is an effective strategy and you get a bucket out of it. Otherwise, that offense gets blown up and you're gonna have to settle for an 80 mid-range jumper, a Russell Westbrook turnover, or a LeBron James heave from 35 feet. And because of the fact that that's the only offense that we're able to run, it's no wonder our shooters have been struggling. Wheezy has been struggling. Monk has been okay in some stretches. Melo has been great at home, but he sucked on the road. Because of the fact that that's our only offense, and that offense gets easily blown up, that's why our shooters have been struggling. And yes, THT chucking up 20 shots does not help us either. Okay, I'm aware of that. Okay, you don't need to remind me. But that is the problem with this Laker team. We can't play defense, and our offense is really non-existent. And to go along with our non-existent offense, we are the most turnover-prone team in the league. Russell Westbrook is leading the league in turnovers with I believe 141. He probably might add to that after the game against Brooklyn. And he's first, and James Harden is second. So yeah, we can't play defense and we turn the ball over. And we have no offense whatsoever at all. And at the end of the day, we're looking at the head honchos, aka the big three: LeBron, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis. We're looking at those three and saying, like, guys, y'all gotta play better. LeBron's been great, but how much of him at 37 years old is gonna raise our ceiling? Because if anything, Anthony Davis should be doing his part. Yeah, 24 and 11's good, but is it really great? Especially when you're in that Laker uniform, especially when people are looking at you to be the next man up for LeBron. And Russell Westbrook, he can't even make a shot. He can't make a shot to save his own life, can he? Yeah, he can make timely buckets. He can do this, that, and the other. But when you need him the most, and keep in mind, I'm not a Russ hater. I've always loved watching Russell Westbrook play since Oklahoma City. But even then, I've seen him do this with KD. I've seen him do this with Paul George. Whenever you need him to shine the most, he shrinks. Yeah, he can make big time shots, but what does he do while making big time shots? He can make big time turnovers that can really deflate any momentum for our team. So that's another problem. And Anthony Davis, bruh, I don't know if you're 6'11 or 6'1. I'm seeing stats with 23 and 8, 18 and 9, and I'm thinking, oh shit, James Harden's on our team. Oh no, Devin Booker? Nah, it gotta be CP3. Oh man, Anthony Davis? And he had one good game against Detroit, and it's the Pistons, the sorry ass Pistons, but they have a good future though with Cade Cunningham. I will make a video about the Pistons in the future, about how bright their future is, especially with Cade at the helm, but that's another topic for another time. And interestingly enough, I left a comment under, I think it was one of Dreamers Pro's videos, which he's the inspiration on why I had to make my video about the Lakers and why I decided to come back to YouTube and try to do this YouTube thing, or give this thing another chance. I said something like, this Laker team is looking like that 2020 Clipper team. Remember, the Clippers had Montrezl Harrell, they had Lou Will, they had Patrick Beverly, then you had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Later on, you had Marcus Morris Sr. and Bobby Schmurder on the team, and they were expected to win it all. But the problem is, just like with our team, there was a non-existent offense. Their defense was pretty good, but it wasn't the shutdown clamp defense that everyone expected them to see. And I knew, maybe some people will disagree with me, but I just knew, just looking at some of their games, I knew that Clipper team was gonna go nowhere, especially losing to Memphis in a blowout. I don't think Paul George was playing, but that didn't even matter. You can't lose to a young Grizzlies team if you are a team like the Los Angeles Clippers with Kawhi and Lou Will and all those guys healthy. I know Paul George was not there, but just going off that one game alone and multiple games, I just knew that Clipper team was headed for failure, and it was only a matter of time until those failures will shine the brightest. All right, and now it's looking like it's gonna happen with this Laker team, that we can turn it on all we want. We can try to turn on in the playoffs or late in the season all we want. We can talk about how much we're gonna dominate in the playoffs, but is that gonna matter if we lose in the first round or in the second round? Is that gonna matter if we turn it up? Because you could have made the argument that the Clippers could have turned it up in the NBA bubble, but they didn't. Lou Will and Paul George struggled, and again, that's a symptom of everything that was wrong with that Clipper team. And it's starting to look like the same thing that happened with the Clippers is gonna happen to us, and it's only a matter of time. If we don't at least step up and play defense, which last night we actually didn't play bad defensively. It's just that, well, we were down 23 and we had to dig ourselves out of a hole only for that to be wasted. But I thought we actually didn't play horrible defensively. I know we allowed 122 points, but keep in mind, we nearly came back, and who knows if Russell Westbrook didn't blow the game for us. But even still, if nothing else happens and the same problems will occur by the All-Star break, by April, then this team is gonna go nowhere, because we're a horrible defensive team, we are a high turnover team, we have no offense, we get out rebounded easily, and we can't close out games, which is one of the reasons why we lost in 3 overtimes to the Sacramento Kings, who actually look a lot better, but still, it's the Sacramento Kings, dog. Like, we should be beating that team while we're up 13. Come on, dog. Like, bruh, this is just unacceptable, and this is just sad to watch. As a person who grew up loving this Laker franchise, I'm just so ashamed of how this Laker team is playing. And I just needed to make a video about it. And I don't know, if you want to hear more about the Lakers, go watch Kenny For Real, Dreamers Pro, some clips from Undisputed, and maybe you'll get more of their viewpoints there. And I don't know, man, you'll hear basically more of my thoughts with other channels, but that's neither here nor there. I just needed to let these thoughts out because it's been tough to watch as a Laker fan. And again, I'm back on YouTube after a 2-month break. I was busy with school. I'm dealing with a whole lot of other issues behind the scenes, but I'm back, and hopefully I will post more consistently. So until then, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great New Year. I hope y'all had a great Christmas. and I just hope my team can actually win some meaningful games for once, because this is getting really painful to watch. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.